Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. We are live from LA. This is Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. How we doing?
Yeah, doing good. Hey, Skip, did you know the Clippers choke? Did I tell you that?
Yes, you told me that 4,789 times.
We the champs.
And by the way, our man Snoop is definitely going to join us today around 11 Eastern right here on Undisputed.
Yep.
And I am told that his goal today is to, quote unquote, set me straight about your man LeBron James. And I just want to say that you've been trying to do that for 4 years on this show, and you have failed epically.
We're just going to keep winning titles.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, probably about a year 2024, after we got like 7 of them things, you be like, okay,
Not
okay.
5, not 6, not 7, says Shannon Sharpe.
You good?
Yeah.
Work to do. Interesting. We'll get to that. And I am ready for Snoop to join us later on the show. But we begin by discussing the latest with the Dallas Cowboys, who are moving forward without Dak Prescott after the QB suffered a season-ending ankle injury during their win over the Giants on Sunday. With Dak playing this season on the franchise tag, there have already been whispers that we may have just seen Prescott's last game in Dallas at all. One anonymous exec even told The Athletic that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys could be tempted to move forward with a discounted Andy Dalton next season. So, Shannon, how much was Jerry and the Dak contract situation at fault for what happened to Prescott?
Well, I don't blame Jerry at all. Football is a very dangerous game, Skip. That's why I don't believe that players should give teams discount for this very reason. Because discounted, you don't give them discounted play, so they shouldn't give you discounted pay. But for me, I don't blame Jerry, Skip. They were in negotiations, and Dak said, I want A. Jerry says, I'm willing to give you B, and they couldn't come to a compromise that was both as far as length and terms of money, Skip. So for me, if you want to blame anybody, blame the Players Association, because they had CBA. Skip, was the franchise tag a part of the CBA that they could have negotiated? But they signed their name on that. So, hey, it is what it is. You knew this, that the franchise tag, I don't see how you have free agency if a team can, says, okay, we're going to franchise you and you can't go test the open market. That's not free agency. Free agency means what it means in baseball, what it means in football and basketball, is that I'm free. I can go shop my talent, whatever the marketplace will bear, Skip. I mean, you don't get to say, you're this, and so you're a quarterback, so you can only make X. Mike Trout can make whatever. So can a pitcher. So can a basketball player. So for me, Skip, I don't blame Jerry at all. Jerry tried to was trying to negotiate a deal. And Jerry says, okay, this is what I'm willing to do in a business, Skip. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I think player X is worth. Player X says, no, Jerry, I've done this and this and this. I think I'm worth that. But it just goes to show you, Skip, that just like that, careers can change, a life can change. And so I believe that's why players should always whenever they can get an opportunity to get money, they should get it. Skip, I don't blame Jerry. Jerry is a businessman, and in business, you try to negotiate the best deal for you. And what he was trying to do, he said, Dak, this is what I'm willing to do. Now, we can go back and forth, but we think somewhere between $33 and $36 million. Dak says, I want somewhere the upper ends of 30, maybe creeping into the 40. Knowing that I'm not going to get Patrick Mahomes, which is $45 million, but I want to creep up there because I believe that's where the market is heading. And he was right. That's where the market is heading, Skip, because Deshaun Watson came in after Mahomes and got $39 million. So Dak was right. Dak and his representative were right. They were heading in that direction. But, Skip, I don't blame Jerry because this was a freak accident. I don't believe Jerry was like, oh, man. But now he gets Dak at the price, maybe even lower than he was originally willing to pay.
Although you did suggest yesterday, I believe, that Jerry won, quote unquote, right?
Yes, because anytime, Skip, the thing is like, there's no risk for Jerry. Jerry says, okay, the tag is 31 million? The tag is 31 million. Every time Dak goes out there on the field, say he throws the ball 40 times. Skip, he has to dodge a landmine 40 times. Jerry said, Jerry ain't got to do nothing. Jerry's like, I'm paying 31.4 or 31.7 million. Dak Prescott has got to, you see what happened? Skip, think about how many times somebody got tackled on Sunday. That's what Dak has to go up against every time for 16 games, basically 800 times in a season. However many times he drops back to pass, how many times he runs the football, and even if he doesn't get sacked, Skip, he gets knocked down, you run the risk. So that's what I'm saying, Skip. The risk will always against Dak. Jerry had no risk in this situation.
Well, not exactly true, because if he did give him a 4 or 5 year deal, and all of a sudden Dak gets hurt to the point that he's never quite the same, then Jerry lost, right?
Well, see, then Jerry has an insurance policy. That's what they do. You see what they did? They took out an insurance policy on Patrick Mahomes for almost $1 billion. So if Patrick Mahomes does it, no, Lloyd's of London, or AEG pays that, not Jerry.
No, but but wait, if you gave him $80 million guaranteed at signing, you lost $80 million, right?
Yes.
And it's going to maybe cripple you against the cap going forward.
Yes.
Right?
Well, that's why Jerry wanted to the 5 years, so he could spread it out. So that way the last couple of years, Skip, he can, said, okay, this is what it is, but hopefully it's 4 to 6 months. He can come back.
Hopefully.
6 months.
So it's hard for me to believe anybody, quote unquote, won in this situation, because we all lost, because we lost this young man who was the face of the franchise, the leader, the heart, the soul. We get all that. I try to be objective when it comes to Dak Prescott, because I have loved him from the start. As you recall, first exhibition, preseason game that I saw him out here at the Coliseum in 2016, just before we started Undisputed that September. And my love of Dak got so much that, if you recall, in 2017, before the year started, it was early that football season. Remember, we shot a commercial about Dak, where I was telling you, as we were waiting for the quote-unquote valet to come get our cars for us, I was telling you, he had the greatest rookie year of any quarterback who's ever played in this league, and he's now on a Hall of Fame arc. And the commercial never ran because Zeke got suspended, you recall, and then they just kind of caved in at that point, right? So we never even ran the commercial. But that's how much I believed in Dak from the start. In the end, my love for my team, and I always try to disqualify myself on the show, because I have lifelong love for the Dallas Cowboys. My uncle Jim Bell took me to a Cowboy game at the old Cotton Bowl, where Jenny was to watch Texas Oklahoma on Saturday. Cowboys started playing at the Cotton Bowl, and I saw them play what were then the St. Louis Cardinals, and they lost the game, but they won my heart.
Was Jim Hart there then?
Huh?
Was Jim Hart the quarterback?
No, he wasn't there yet. It was Charlie Johnson. This is way before your time. The quarterback for the Cowboys was Eddie LeBaron, who is 5 feet 7 inches tall. I actually fell in love with Eddie, but more of their jerseys. I thought those were the coolest uniforms ever. So usually my love for my team supersedes my love for the current quarterback. So all I want now is for this situation to turn out the best for all involved. And in the end, the bottom line is what you're always talking about is, did you win or did you lose? Did you go to Shannon's restaurant with an L, or did you dub it? Okay, so in the end, I care mostly about, can my team survive and then thrive through the situation? I still believe Dak is on the Kirk Cousins train right now, where I think he's going to be okay. Maybe I'm knocking on wood, maybe I'm wishfully thinking, but I believe, from all I've read about this injury, it's fixable. And I believe
Michael Vick had the injury.
Okay, I got it.
He came back.
He came back. It didn't seem like it was a compound fracture.
No, He didn't compound, didn't dislocate it.
Okay, but by all accounts, he should be okay with this. He wasn't a quote-unquote running quarterback to start with. He ran some, and he ran effectively. I used to pound the table over here, wanting him to run a little bit more. But when it comes to this injury, I still can't wrap my head around it, because I get Michael Vick's, because Adalys Thomas horse-collared him and yanked him down from behind, and it's just a recipe for ankle disaster or any kind of broken leg Terrell Owens disaster ahead of that Super Bowl with the Eagles. Okay, so
Patriots, you mean?
He was
with the Eagles,
for the Eagles against the Patriots. Okay, so the point is, on this one, I still can't. If you gave me 100 possibilities, this is how Dak's season is going to end, this would be at the bottom of my list, where he's face-to-face with a much smaller DB who kind of horse collars him from the front, if that's possible, and kind of yanks on him, and somehow ankle gets caught underneath, it folds, and we know it's over. And it broke everybody's heart, and I'm still reeling from it, because I can't compute. How did that happen in that situation? If Dak had been going kamikaze this year, trying to prove his worth, if he had been hurtling into precarious, dangerous situations, perilous situations,
right,
I'd say maybe he's playing a little out of control, trying to convince Jerry that he's worth this much money.
Right.
I didn't see that.
No, he wasn't.
Through the first 4 games, he threw for more yards than any quarterback has ever thrown for in the first 4 games in the history of this league. Unfortunately, it got them what? It got them almost to 0-4 because it took a miracle recovery to survive the Atlanta game. Okay, so what do I think about all this in the end? I just want everybody to be happy. I was hoping Dak would take the offer on the table because even you, as critical as you've been of Dak Prescott, you said it was at least a fair offer by Jerry Jones. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he had at least a dozen national TV commercials going into this year, and I'm thinking, okay, that kind of offsets the X million that you might want to get up to 40.
Right.
So maybe you should take it. Again, Jerry wants the longer term. Maybe you should even take the 5. You can argue 5 is a little more, security for you longer term. It also, the market's going to go up and up and up, and you're going to wake up after 3 years and say, oh, look, I'm way underpaid.
Right.
If your arc stays the way I would hope it would stay. So in the end, I wish he'd taken the deal. I wanted him to be happy. I wanted the team to be happy. I didn't want...
He wouldn't have been happy taking that deal, Skip.
Okay, well, it appears it came to that.
Right.
And it appears, as I told you before, I know another agent who's close to the situation who said he thought that Todd France, the new agent for Dak Prescott, was, quote-unquote, overplaying his hand here. He's just... But you can't... I don't condemn him.
Right.
Because that's what agents do.
Right.
They always overplay their hand.
I think he played it correctly, Skip, because what he realizes is that there's a new TV contract that's coming up. Now, the new TV contract is going to be COVID-proof. Because guess what? The TV contract is not based on butts in the stands.
Yep.
They're both based on eyeballs on the television.
Absolutely.
So they factor that into the equation where this contract hasn't been worked out yet. Mm-hmm. But Dak said, and Dak and his representative said, hold on, this is where this is going. Mm-hmm. This contract, this TV contract is not going to be the same.
Yep.
It's going to move 10, 15%. So I'm going to factor that in.
All right.
So if Dak had signed the Skip, if I believe, knowing players like I know, having been a player, if Dak signed this contract, he's not going to be happy because he's saying, I believe I'm worth more and I was forced into this. He rolled the dice. Skip, that's the chance that you take when you sign these one-year deals, is that you're rolling the dice because it's just as dangerous as if you have...
Just remember about this young man.
Yes.
He'd never been seriously hurt. In high school, college, or pro football for 4 years. He'd started every game, and after a while, in your head, you start to think, maybe I'm not bulletproof, but I'm okay.
Right.
Maybe I'm not invincible, but I'm pretty quarterback, right? Okay, so that proved wrong. And yet, I don't think he lost because I still believe, you disagree, I think they'll just tag him again next year for almost $38 million. It's pretty good money.
Right.
In fact, I can argue it's pretty great money. And I look at what Kirk Cousins did, and Kirk Cousins is not as good as Dak Prescott. Okay. I've said that from the start. But he goes tag in Washington, tag in Washington. It was a lot of money in those days, 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
It's 20 and 24 million. Yeah. Then he goes 28 guaranteed for 3 years in Minnesota, which we thought at the time was outrageously great money because it's all guaranteed.
Yes, $84 million, fully guaranteed.
Then on top of that, he gets 2 more years at 66.
Fully guaranteed.
33 a year, all guaranteed. That's great money for Kirk Cousins. He is way overpaid to me, but you can argue he's a quarterback.
If you look at it, Skip, that's going to be roughly $150 million fully guaranteed over 5 years. That's what he got because you look at the 20 and the 24, that's 44. He got 56, that's 80, plus the 66. So that's 146 for basically 5 years.
Okay. Now, let's deal with the Andy Dalton factor here. What is Andy Dalton? He is 32 years of age, still not too far gone.
No.
He has made 3 Pro Bowls in his career. Not bad.
Right.
I always say he's not Dak, but he's not bad.
Right.
His first 5 years in the league, he averaged 10 wins a year. And in 2015, again, 5 years ago, he had his best year, and it was pretty good. It was 25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He's pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, so now everything changes. I believe we're looking at Zeke's team. It has not been Zeke's team so far through the first 5 games, or let's say 4.5 games. Zeke is averaging now 73 yards a game. It's by far his career low. Why is that? Because every game, certainly the ones, they fell way behind. Look at these deficits. At LA at the Rams, they fell behind 7-0, which wasn't terrible.
Not bad.
Okay, but
you can
then
live with that.
Atlanta 20-0.
Yes.
Seattle 30-15. Cleveland 41-14. These are deficits.
Right.
New York with Dak in the starting lineup, obviously through an early pick 6, 17-3.
Right.
That's an average of trailing by 17 points in all 5 games.
Yes.
Well, that'll get you nothing but beaten.
That'll
right?
get you nothing but a bunch of passes. You'll accumulate a lot of passing yards, Skip, but not necessarily a lot of wins.
Correct. So Dak has averaged 44 pass attempts a game.
Right.
And Zeke has averaged 18 rushing attempts a game. We don't talk about out of whack, lopsided.
That's it, Skip, because you only normally get somewhere between 65 and 68 plays. If you're throwing it 44 times, so that means there's 20. Zeke's not going to get all the carries. You figure the quarterback's going to scramble and probably get you 2 to 3 a game. Your backup running back's going to probably get you 2 to 3 a game.
He will.
So therefore, that leaves Zeke with somewhere, like you said, 15 to 18 carries a game.
Okay. So think of what's happened to Zeke. His first 3 years, he led with 109 yards a game, then 98 yards a game, and 96 yards a game. He fell off last year to 5th in the league at 85 yards a game, and now he's down to 73 yards, which ranks 12th.
Yeah.
Is he better than that? You better believe he is.
But his carry, Skip, he probably went from a high of probably 22, 23 carries in a year. And now he's probably, as you mentioned, he's down 5 carries a game.
Okay. So now I'm reading it in The Athletic, Mike Sando's piece. He's quoting anonymous executives about Andy Dalton. And they're intrigued with this notion of what if somehow the Cowboys with Andy Dalton feed the beast, feed Zeke, and steal the least. It could be the worst division in the history of football.
Yes.
What if they have a home playoff game?
Yes.
By the way, Andy Dalton's been pretty good until playoff games.
Correct.
And he's 0-4.
Right. And a lot of those have been at home.
Two out of
2.
Yeah, 2 were at home.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. Only 1 was at home.
Oh, they lost to the Chargers at home?
Yeah, they lost to the Chargers at home, but they lost at Houston, and at Indy.
Okay.
And his QBRs were horrible, and he has 1 touchdown to 6 interceptions.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Okay, that's not good. Okay, but what if they say, what if Dallas sits back and says, we became Zeke's team, which you have said from the start, that's who they should be. We fed Zeke, we won the East, maybe we get blown off the field in a home playoff game.
Right.
But what if they say, gee, Andy Dalton will take $20 million a year for the next couple of years. We go forward and we try to rebuild the defense. We try to restock, reload, just up the defense, try to make it a significant playoff caliber defense by spending every penny on the defensive side that we saved on Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Is that possible? I'd say it is possible.
It's very possible, Skip, but at the end of the day, I think we've seen this movie on Andy Dalton. We know what he is, Skip. Now, let's be all the way. Look, winning that division is not going to tell. Now, if you tell me, Skip, they run the table from here out, okay, fine. But let's just say they were in the AFC North with Pittsburgh and Baltimore and Cleveland. Would we be saying, well, if they wanted to, because we know they're not going to win the division.
No.
Skip, somebody's going to probably win this division. 9-7 if we're generous. It's probably going to be more 8-8, 7-9-ish.
Agree.
I mean, because you look at the Giants. The Giants are going to be hard-pressed to win more than 2 or 3 games. Washington, same thing. Philly, with their injuries, they're up and down. So it's basically a 2-team race. The first team to 8 wins calls the division. So that's not telling me anything if Andy Dalton won the NFC East. Because as you mentioned, this might go down as the worst division in football in a given year. Historically,
no,
correct.
Completely agree. So the point is, what if they find that running the ball and getting a little better each week on defense, which I told you I saw some rays of hope on defense. Just some. We'll talk about that at length later. I know. Yeah, I need a new TV. I can be a blind fan sometimes. I can be, to quote LeBron James, I can be a blind witness sometimes.
They gave up 34 to a team that averages 12.
Okay.
And you have little to no respect for Danny Dimes.
I have a little respect for Danny Dimes, who is mostly Danny Pennies.
Yeah, exactly.
But the point is, in the end, I loved what Andy Dalton did at the end of the game. And maybe I'm holding, again, this is no disrespect to Dak, because I really love Dak, but I'm just clinging to just a little bit of hope. And I saw Andy Dalton make 2 throws at the end of the game that were big-time throws.
No question.
Could we just quickly see those?
Question,
just
no
quickly,
question.
just to remind everybody, this is a rollout dead run to his right across his body.
That might have been a better throw than the next one you're going to show.
I agree. And it's a great catch and toe tap by Michael Gallup. And then here we go. He goes straight back and bombs away back to Gallup on the very next play, and he goes up and snatches it up high and gets both feet down. I was worried about his ankles on this play because they were perilously in danger. And shot field goal to win the game. And I'm saying, well, at least he did that. At least he's been here and done all that before. Again, I think you're going to see against Arizona, it's not until Monday night. They are an underdog at home. I think it's around 3-point underdog to Kyler and company. Could they win the game? I think they could win the game. Could we see a whole new dimension of 20 or 25 passes a game and Zeke 25 or 30 carries?
You might go back to see what you saw Dak's rookie year, where you saw a whole lot of Zeke and Dak in third and manageable situations. As long as you keep it 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, something manageable where he can obviously take off and run and get a first down. But it's also easier for him to pick up throwing the football. I think you might see something like that. But the defense is going to have to improve, Skip. The likelihood of Andy Dalton doing what Dak was able to do, even though sometimes it came up futile, I don't see Andy Dalton being able to do that. I don't see Andy Dalton getting down 17 and bringing this team back.
I would agree with that, but the point is you can't get down 17.
Well, good luck with that, Skip. You dig it? They're bringing in some new players?
Maybe Andy Dalton gets them ahead 10-7 and they end up winning 17-14.
Well, maybe it's a situation, Skip. If you look at it, you says, okay, we get the ball first, we go down and score. And we don't automatically, because it's normally, Skip, when they get the field, they're already down 3-7-0. That's frustrating. That's hard to play a game like that. When you know, man, we got to score every time. If we turn the ball over, they're going to go down the field and score. That puts a lot of pressure on your offense.
My final thought on Dak Prescott, just being completely objective, over his last 17 starts dating back to last year, he's 6-11, last 17. Whatever they're doing, bombs away, falling behind early, poor defense, it's not working. It didn't work down the stretch because, remember, they started out 3-0 last year, and then Jerry and Dak went to contract, quote-unquote, war from that point on, and he struggled. They went 5-8 down the stretch. You thought he was horrible down the stretch, right? They missed the playoffs at 8-8, and then the year started just like it was same time this year.
I think the thing is, Skip, when a quarterback starts to go up in salary, you have to prove why you're giving him this money. Skip, I'm not going to pay a quarterback $30, $35 million to have. Just like I'm not going to have a running back that's making $13, $14 million, then all of a sudden I'm only giving him 5-6 carries a game. No, I'm going to give you 20, 25 carries a game. I got to get some value out of this. And so they were trying to say, Dak says, I want this money. And I said, well, okay, here's the ball. And so they were gradually taking the ball out of Zeke's belly because Dak's making $30 million. Skip, I'm not paying a quarterback $30 million to hand the ball off. Oh, they do that to Ryan Tannehill because he definitely hands the ball off to King Henry a bunch. And it might be a situation, Skip. Remember, Ryan Tannehill found a home in Tennessee.
Maybe. I don't know.
Andy Dalton might be the new Ryan Tannehill.
Brave new world in Dallas.
No mercy. Talk about what we saw last night. The Chargers held a 20-3 lead over the Saints last night, but New Orleans rallied back in the second half to come out with a 30-27 victory in overtime. Justin Herbert became the first rookie to throw for 4 touchdowns on Monday Night Football and also finished with a 74 QBR as opposed to Drew Brees only getting a 66. So Shannon, did Justin Herbert outplay Drew Brees last night?
Yes, he did. He absolutely outplayed Drew Brees, Skip. And I think I owe this man an apology because thus far he's better than I thought he would be. I knew he was athletic after watching him in the Rose Bowl, but what I didn't see on a consistent basis is the throws that he's making in the NFL level that I didn't see at the collegiate level. And so give him credit because he's making throws on the run. Skip, they just need to find a way to finish these games. Remember, they had a 17-point lead on Tampa. They had an 8-9-point lead on Kansas City. They just need a way to finish these games off. They had a 20-3 lead, if I'm not mistaken, last night. So and he's playing unbelievable. The throws that he's making Skip, he's unbelievable. I think a lot of that goes to the quarterback coach, Pep Hamilton, who's doing an unbelievable job coaching this young man up.
I agree.
Remember, Skip, he was the offensive coordinator of Andrew Luck at Stanford.
He was.
Followed Andrew Luck to Indy, and when Bruce Arians left, he took over the play calling duties in Indy.
By the way, I thought Pep was on track to become a head coach in this league, and for some reason, it did not happen.
It did not happen.
Yep.
But Skip, he's playing well. Skip, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because Mike Thomas isn't there. But it looks to me, Drew doesn't have the same confidence in his arms because he can't fit the ball in the windows with the anticipation because he's never had that Brett Favre or that Patrick Mahomes arm. We understand that. But Skip, and see, the thing is what I tell people, when you talk about a great player, and that's what Drew Brees is that you don't compare them to other great players, you compare them to themselves, a younger version. And although Drew is completing, 65, 66?
Yeah. But
Drew Brees is not, at this time of year, Drew Brees is damn near 80% completion.
Yep.
He normally finishes the season somewhere around 72 to 74% completion. And I see a lot of skip throws. I see a lot of throws that's not getting there. So I don't know if I'm missing Mike Thomas, and maybe we'll see when Mike Thomas comes back. But I don't think Drew has the confidence in his arm anymore to fit the ball in the tight windows. I mean, yeah, you saw Jared Cook running wide open, and you see guys wide open, Emmanuel Sanders running great routes, and he's getting the ball there. But that tight throw window that he normally could anticipate and get the ball there, Skip, I've seen 5 weeks, and I haven't seen that yet. Drew hasn't put together one of those games. Even when they scored the 35, he got up to the shaky start against Detroit. But I'm going to need some things are going to have to turn around to convince me that New Orleans, because that might be is that my pick?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And defensively, Skip, you get guys trying to do too much. Now, why would Robinson? You got the man up the rail.
What is that about?
Why would you try to sneak a pick?
And he's looking around like,
no, it's you.
Yeah.
That's your man.
Yeah.
That's your guy. Marcus Latimer. Bruh, if you open the door, flies will come in your house. You cannot get in a press position and open the door. Give the receiver free release. Skip, why are you up there then? If you're not going to press, back off. If you're up there in a press position, put your hands on the guy. He opens the gate, the guy goes right down the field. Saying that the Chargers should have won this game. For whatever reason, the kicker just, he hit the upright and bounced it off. This should have never gone to overtime because this kid played well enough to win. He was dealing last night. He outplayed Drew up and down the field, and they should have won this game. But there's some things going on that's causing me for concern for my Super Bowl representative of the NFC.
well, unfortunately for me and my guy, Tampa Bay, the Saints did win the game last night. And let me get this off my chest about kickers because I hate field goal kicking. I just despise it because it consistently changes outcomes. It tilts the scoreboard one way or the other. And it's so ludicrous that we have these little guys trot onto the field who have nothing to do with the game of football, and they swing their legs soccer style, and they win and lose games. Well, what are we doing? But it's wildly exciting for all the wrong reasons. So it comes down to a 50-yard field goal, thanks to Justin Herbert. He got him right in position. And I'm thinking, could he make this? Because it was on him. He had missed the first extra point.
Right.
Wide right.
Yeah.
And so it's on the kicker Badgley for the Chargers. And you blew it. And so your team's playing in a hole the whole game.
Right.
Because it wouldn't have come down to this
Correct.
if you had made your extra point.
Right.
And I'm thinking 50 yards, surely can make it. And they show him, ESPN showed him before the game, he's just cooking them right through the uprights from 60.
Yeah, you cooking them.
Okay, here we go. And he hits it, and it starts to fade right. And then it hits the upright so dead center that it bounces straight backward.
Right.
It could have hit just a little bit.
Carry him inside and get over the crossbar.
It could have, but it didn't. And Tampa Bay, I knew as soon as it went to overtime, they're not going to win this game at New Orleans.
Right.
Okay, now back to Justin Herbert. I am with you on this. We both agreed before the draft we did not love him. Not sold. That's way too high to take Justin Herbert at 6th overall, one pick after Tua, your man, went to the Dolphins.
Right.
Okay, so this is one where I might have swung and missed because I've seen him now against Brady and Todd Bowles' defense at Tampa, and I'm like, what has gotten into him?
My homeboy.
He's throwing rockets.
Yes.
Rockets.
He got a lively arm.
Woo, big arm, easy big arm. It's like easy velocity. Okay, so I watched him for the last 2 years, at Oregon, and I watched games in 2018. I went back and looked at his numbers, and I watched Stanford, then at Washington, at Arizona, at Washington State, and he made some big-time throws, and he made a bunch of mistakes where you said, wow, I don't know if he has a great feel for playing the position.
Right.
Then last year, I watched him lose to my man Herman Edwards' team at Arizona State, and he threw 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. And they got
over to Auburn. I think they lost Auburn, and he didn't play particularly well.
27-21. It's okay in that game, threw for 242. Then I watched, as you did, the Rose Bowl against Wisconsin, and he wound up 14 of 20 for 138, no touchdowns and 1 pick, and was the Rose Bowl MVP because he led the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you that, but it wasn't great. Right. Then I watched the Senior Bowl, and they don't play very long, but he had a really good, just a surge that won him Senior Bowl MVP. Okay, way to go. But I still didn't love him. I saw too much indecision, and he didn't look that confident in his own skin. And it's almost like the NFL game is more made for him than the college game.
It seems that way, Skip, because it seems like, for whatever reason, Skip, it's like he plays great, and then he has this lull in the middle that allows the team to get that they're ahead of to get back in the ball game, and then he plays great again.
Yeah.
Because he was playing great against Kansas City. He made that one mistake when he should have just scrambled and got the first down, and they win that game. He throws back across his body like, bro, what are you doing? You can't do this. And then you see him against Tampa, 24-7, and he's dealing. I believe they should have took a knee, get into the locker room. But, hey, he struggles. They come back, and then Tampa takes the lead, and then you see him go right back up top like, I'm here to stay.
Yep.
Boom, he throws a bomb and retakes the lead. And you see things like, okay. But now you see why Anthony Lynn made that decision. That's the starter. Moving forward, I understand, Tyrod. I brought you here. I coached you in Buffalo.
I got it.
But that guy has what you do not have.
I also blasted them for not signing Cam, because I thought going into SoFi Stadium, you need a big superstar quarterback, and Cam could have been your lightning rod draw, right?
They might have found him, and we didn't even know it.
Well, okay, they might have.
Yeah.
So I have been pretty right about a lot of quarterbacks coming out of college. I told you Dwayne Haskins. I'm just not buying. I didn't see enough at Ohio State. And he looks like he's on shaky ground in Washington, obviously. And then Sam Darnold, I told you, and maybe he'll still pull out of it, but I never was sold on Sam Darnold at USC. And then I definitely told you Josh Allen at UCLA. Josh Rosen. I just didn't. I like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But Josh Rosen wasn't that guy. Again, I didn't see the supreme confidence, the feel for the game that you need to play at this level. So those 3 guys are on the outs. This guy's on the ups, man.
Yes.
Because you say, is it just blissful ignorance because he just got thrown into the starting lineup against the Chiefs? No, not on Monday Night Football. You know it's coming. Yeah,
it's Monday Night Football, and you know it's there. Skip, and his ability, like I said, I knew he had athleticism because I saw him run in the Rose Bowl and do what he did. But his ability to throw the ball on the move, that first touchdown to Keenan Allen, who he lost last night.
He lost him to back spasm and still hung in there.
Yeah. But the thing is, Skip, Drew Brees, that's concerning. I don't know what you feel about Drew, but I'm not liking what I see.
He's just lost whatever pop in his arm he used to have. It's not there. He has to, like, muscle it up. He has to get a little bit of a running start. It's a javelin throw, and it takes a lot of effort for him to throw a 15-yard pass. Last night, when they protected him and gave him supreme time to throw, he was still throwing darts, but he had to sort of wind up to throw the dart.
Yeah, but the thing is, Skip, I'm moving a guy like him. I'm moving him off that spot. Because he's not a guy that can throw as accurately on the move like a Russell Wilson, like a Mahomes, even like this kid, Herbert or Josh Allen. That's not what he does. So I'm going to move him off that spot. And so if I can get him to move off that spot, I got a better chance. But, Skip, I just don't see the confidence. I'm watching him, like I'm saying, I'm sure but I don't see the confidence, the Drew that was throwing with great anticipation. Because, like I said, he's never had that shotgun arm.
No.
But his anticipatory skills were always great, and he could get it there. It's not getting there anymore.
Okay, but my problem with Drew Brees, because I'm rooting against him in this division, you don't write this man off.
Right.
He still threw for 325 last night. On Monday Night Football, he now has it's more than twice as many as any other quarterback, including Tom Brady on Monday night.
Well, Skip, he's played a bunch of them. Because they love New Orleans because they know the crowd's going to be rowdy. There's going to be, some like Peyton and those top quarterbacks are gonna have a bunch of numbers on Monday night because they're gonna play a bunch on Monday night.
But it was intriguing to me. He made one big throw that actually Kamara made a better catch on.
Yeah, that wasn't the throw, that was the catch.
We could see this. Kamara went up and just he mossed the DB. This is the one that got them in position to tie the game late. What a play.
Let this thing get Skip. You're throwing a fade route to a 5'7" running back up the rail.
Yep. And he went up like a wide receiver and snatched it like Michael Gallup would. Pretty impressive. And then what happened when they got down to 3rd and 4 near the goal line? All of a sudden, Drew Brees is completely out of the game in favor of Taysom Hill.
Well, they had a couple of 3rd downs last night. They brought Taysom Hill in, and I'm sure Drew wasn't happy about that one.
I agree. And yet, how can you argue with this play?
Right. Well, it's better if he runs the football.
Yeah.
I just don't, Skip. I understand that, we're going to give him a chance, but I just don't see him being the starting quarterback. Most
superstar quarterbacks, even aging superstar quarterbacks, they're just not going to stand for that, yet he seems to swallow it.
I don't think he got a choice much in at this juncture of his career.
I guess not. Well, again, now you've got Saints, Bucks, and Panthers tied at 3-2.
Yeah, Carolina's better than I thought. They would be definitely better than I thought they would be.
Teddy Bridgewater's been playing at a high level.
Atlanta, Mr. Blank had finally pulled the plug.
He did.
Well, Shannon, you said it was bound to happen at some point. And look, I'm excited for Justin Herbert. I was around him a lot in college. He's impressive. He's a smart kid. He was a biology major. This kid gets it. He had over a 4.0 when he graduated. So
that was like me. Had over a 4.0.
Yeah, did you ever?
But it was on a 10 scale.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
What was your GPA, Shannon?
278.
Okay, just wanted it.
278.
No,
Magna cum later.
I know what Skip was.
I was on the dean list a bunch.
I know what Skip was. We don't even have to say
For doing what?
There you go, see.
For doing what exactly? How about we talk about your Lakers, Shannon, again, as you writing their first title in 10 years. But according to our friend Chris Haynes, LeBron reportedly told Anthony Davis, quote, "We've got more work to do if the duo wants to turn their one ring into several rings." For the record, LeBron now has 4 championships. But Shannon, how many more will LeBron win in his career?
And 4 finals MVPs. Let's not let that, a lot of guys got championship, but it's them 4 things that say you the dog. Yeah, that's what it means, Skip Bayless. Let's see. LeBron is about to be 36 in 2 months. I hate predicting this, Skip, because obviously, LeBron was 26, and he had, he had just won a title. I was like, oh, they're about to win about 3 or 4. But I'm going to say this. If they can stay healthy, I believe they're going to upgrade because Jeannie knows what the hell she's doing, and she's giving Rob Pelinka complete control. And Rob made the promise to LeBron, and LeBron said it. I'll do whatever it takes for us to win a title. And if that means you have to move some pieces, I don't know. They don't have a whole lot of pieces, Skip, because basically everybody was on player options or only had 1-year contracts. Anthony Davis is 27. The impact that LeBron has had on AD, because by December, Skip, AD was out of the playoffs. AD is learning what it is to play hard on a nightly basis. Learning what it is to be counted on and thought of in a top 5 player on a nightly basis. That's one of the biggest impacts that LeBron has had on him, is that he gets an opportunity to see a guy that puts that kind of effort, that kind of into his body, to his game. AD plays hard every night. Skip, I'm not so sure that, AD is like, well, he don't play through injuries. He had this injury in New Orleans. Is he going to play with that heel? Is he going to play with that foot, that sprained ankle? So with that being said, we're at 4. I believe LeBron has 2 more years where he will be either the best player or top 3 or 4 player. I'm going to say they win at least 1, maybe 2 in the next 3 years. 1 to 2 in the next 3 years. I believe they'll win next year.
Okay, which is it, 1 or 2?
1.5.
1.5 is impossible.
Yeah, I'm going to do like Vegas. Like Fox Bet, they give you the over-under so that way they know good well somebody can't win. You can't win by 3.5 points. You know what, Skip? I'm gonna go conservative. I'm gonna say 1, but knowing the GOAT like I do, that he's gonna probably take a week or 2 off and then be right back in the lab. I'm gonna say he'll win 2 titles in 4 years.
2 and 4, and you think after 4 he'll be out of his prime or whatever, his ability to play at a high level?
No, that's when they'll transition, and it'll be AD. So LeBron then, instead of getting his 25, he'll probably get somewhere around 20, but he'll still be able to give you 8, 10 assists tonight. Yeah.
At nearing age 40.
It'll be 38.
Well, 4 years from now, he would be going on 40.
But I'm saying 2 years, I believe he'll be in this block where he is right now.
Okay. So you're saying 2 championships over the next 4 years.
Correct. Because you know the Lakers. People love coming to the Lakers. Big names love coming to the Lakers. They love that.
Okay. I'm going to remind everybody what just happened felt meant to be. Everything broke perfectly for LeBron and Anthony Davis and your Lakers. I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment the way you are, because you finally won something and you can't quit gloating about it or goating about it. And I just want to remind everybody that it couldn't have been easier for LeBron James than the easiest path he's ever had to a ring. The pandemic happened right on time. It wasn't good for anybody but LeBron, to me.
How?
It gave him time to heal up and revitalize and get ready for a playoff run at the end of year 17. It was perfect for him.
But yet it was your guys that had off-season surgery. Kawhi on his knee, Paul George on his shoulders.
They had not played enough together. They were just starting to click. They needed to continue on conventionally, finishing out the season and having to fly back and forth to cities, which LeBron did not have to do, to win a championship. They needed to stay in rhythm and not in a bubble, because you know and I know half the Clippers didn't even want to go to the bubble in the first place. Half were torn about Black Lives Matter issues. Half were torn about just COVID issues. And that team was never together. Now, that's where he won his championship. He kept his guys together.
Were they ever together?
The Clippers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
When they beat LeBron and AD in opening night on Christmas Day. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And you hung the banner. Remember how you was chirping? And then on Christmas again, you hung the banner. And I told you what was going to happen to your team. But your head hard.
So the Clippers are not to be written off right now. And I'm going to remind everybody, when the Clippers were playing the Nuggets, every night, Fox Bet had them, and as did all the odds makers in Vegas, had them 8.5 to 9 point favorites every night against the Nuggets. The Lakers started to play the Nuggets, and every night they were 6 or 5 or 6 point favorites. So Vegas kept saying to you, the Clippers are better than the Lakers. Vegas picked the Clippers to win it going into the playoffs, but they didn't predict what was going to happen, that the bubble was going to burst for the Clippers.
I predicted what was going to happen.
Okay, you predict every year he's going to win everything, and you finally got one right.
No, don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
Because they avoided the Clippers.
Skip, don't do that.
Because the Clippers self-destructed. And I'm going to remind everybody, the Clippers in the 3 closeout games were up 16 on the Nuggets and 19 on the Nuggets and then 12 on the Nuggets.
Yes.
It showed you again and again and again, they're so much better than the Nuggets because they're better than the Lakers.
It showed me they're front runners. But what happened, Skip, when the team started executing? And then all of a sudden you couldn't make a shot, but you got those 3. See, what I don't understand, when you got those 3 legendary defenders, I'm trying to figure out how can the Nuggets get anything they want whenever they want when you're down by 19. Pat Bev should be able to lock it down. Remember how he knocked the ball? But knocked the ball out of Jamal Murray's hand. Knocked the ball out of Jeremy Grant's hand.
Yep.
Do something with Yoke.
It's called looking ahead to the Lakers. Your whole reason for being as Clippers was to beat the Lakers. And they had their eyes on the Lakers and took their eye off the ball, which was the Nuggets.
Yeah. How am I going to be worried about another war when I'm fighting a war? Skip, they're fighting a team right now for their lives.
They were up 16, 19, and 12. They thought they were done with these guys.
And they walked them down.
Yep.
Okay, I give you that. Maybe game 5, okay, we got this, we up 16, we're going to look ahead. Okay, game 6, we up 19. Okay, we got this. They can't come back. In a game 7, because game 7, Skip, a tip pass, a buzzer beater, a foul, Skip, they walked you down and they blew you off the court. They beat you by 20.
A lesson learned.
Hey, what lesson you learned?
Yep.
You fired Doc, and you're going to get up off Paul George. But here's the thing that we're going to do, Skip. We don't have a whole lot of pieces because we traded up 3 first-rounders to get AD, that's minuscule. I mean, think about it. The Clippers gave up more to get Paul George than the Lakers did to get Anthony Davis. Let that sink in for just a second. Who won that deal? Even swap ain't no swindle, though. But let me tell you this, Skip Baylor. We only really got one piece that we can move. It's hard for me to see a scenario that the Lakers wouldn't be willing to move that piece. And you know that piece.
Yep.
Kuzma.
Okay.
They will move that piece.
I think they're done with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Move him. I kept saying.
Give him Buddy Hield. We'll trade him straight up for Buddy Hield.
Okay. I still believe you don't have a closer, but you never needed a closer because you never got pushed.
Skip, did you just not see what LeBron James did? The man averaged 30, 12, and 9. He averaged 27, 11, and 9 for the entirety of the playoffs. And you talk about we ain't got a closer. Did you see what he did? Did you see what he did in
talking about close games, closer.
Skip.
You had 2 against the Heat, and you lost both of them.
Nuggets. No, was the Nuggets not a close game?
Game 2 was, and LeBron opted out of the last play, which was called for him, and he hid from the basketball.
Let me ask you a question. Who's your closer in the Clippers?
What have I told you?
What's
Lou Williams. And what happened to him? What did you nickname him?
Liver Pepper.
Thank you. Okay, that's what happened to Lou Williams. He never wanted to be in the bubble in the first place, and he exited the bubble and wound up at Magic City. He went from Magic Kingdom to Magic City.
Yeah, it's Magic.
And that was the beginning of the end.
You ought to
for
see
my
the shows
Clippers.
in those buildings.
That's right. Okay, way to go. So I'm going to remind you, everybody's going to get a little better.
No,
I expect the Nuggets to be better. I expect Jamal Murray to take a superstar step next year.
Well, the big step, if Michael Porter Jr.
Could be.
He gains a little weight.
Yep.
Because his offense is there. Skip, he has to take it a little bit more seriously.
I got
defensive end.
Yep.
But, I mean, we're going to have to, look, we like I said, we got guys on player options, and there are some guys that played themselves into some, some paydays. KCP, somebody might want to come get KCP.
Yep.
And he's going to have to make a decision. Do I want a little extra money, or do I want to try an opportunity to compete for a title year in and year out? Rondo's going to have to make a decision.
Okay.
Keith Marr's going to have to make a decision. Can they upgrade the center position with Dwight and JaVale? Boogie. So is he healthy?
Who loves Luka more than life? This man across the room. He says he's the next Larry Bird.
Yep.
Well, if he's going to become Larry Bird next year, you don't think they're going to be a threat to the Lakers?
No, stop that.
Stop it?
Stop it.
Well, I don't know. Porzingis gets his knee right?
Yeah. There is no answer for Anthony Davis.
And by the way, who's the hottest team in the bubble? Was the Suns. You don't think they're going to be a threat to everybody in the West? Just watch.
Do you know we did to the Suns? The Suns don't rise when they play us.
We'll see what happens. Rockets are going to have a new coach, right? And Utah will get Bogdanovich back, and they'll be better. I'm not saying they're a real threat,
Skip,
but
y'all
they'll
ain't
be
got
better.
no Skip. You do realize the Rockets' biggest man is 6'7".
Yep.
So what you gonna win with a 6'7" guy? This ain't college.
You lost one game decisively on your easiest path ever to a ring, and it was at the hands of the Rockets in Game 1 of that series. And I sat here and predicted it before it happened.
And I predicted to you every time y'all start doing something. You remember that first game when Dame started went dumb, got stupid with it, didn't win another game. You remember when old Russ, he was up, that's what I'm talking about. Rocking the baby and too small, didn't win another game.
Do you remember a guy named Steph Curry? Do you remember another guy named Clay something?
Yeah.
Oh, Clay Thompson. Remember those guys?
I want to know.
I think they still play, and I think they're going to be back.
Okay, of those 3 guys you named, which one guard AD and which one checking Bron?
And who's going to guard them?
We're going to put that clamps on them.
Are you? Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Bron's going to sit in that chair.
Oh!
How old is he now? 38?
Be 36 in December.
Okay.
December 30th. Did you see what he did to Jimmy Butler? 12 points.
He didn't do that.
12 points. LeBron did.
Stop it.
The last 5 minutes of the game against Jamal Murray.
Yep.
You see what he did?
Yeah, I didn't actually.
He took James. Skip the A.
And then there are guys on the other side of the bracket named Durant and Irving.
They don't even need a coach.
Remember
who the coach?
Need a coach.
Who the coach?
Well, you're going to have to deal with them in the finals next year, if in fact you get to the finals, which I don't believe you will.
You doing this again, Skip?
Who's the best player on the planet? Kevin Durant.
Stop it, Skip.
Stop it.
Everybody
thinks that.
Nobody believes that.
Well, unless you just out of sight, out of mind.
Ain't no out of sight, out of nothing.
Yeah.
Ain't no out of sight.
Hey,
after what that man just did,
Well,
Anthony, did you see what he just did?
Did you see what KD did to LeBron, face to face, eye to eye, jaw to jaw?
With Clay and Steph, or when he was with Russ?
Yeah.
I just want to know which time we're talking about.
He was the MVP twice in a row against LeBron.
But Skip, you make it seem like if LeBron hadn't gone to the Warriors with Clay and Steph, they wouldn't have won the finals. Stop this, Skip.
So I will give you, maybe if everything goes well in the next 4 years, you might win one more championship. So you'll wind up in your career 5-6 versus Jordan 6-0.
But here's the thing.
Game over.
But here's the thing, what I don't understand, when you and so many like you said he was coming here to retire. This was Michael B. Jordan. He was going to be Kevin Hart.
Did you see him in his first year here?
What the time about?
He was 28 and 27.
Yeah, I saw 27, 8 and 8.
Huh.
Only a handful of people have ever done stats like that.
You want to see the blooper reel from his first year?
Don't make me.
Nope.
Hey, don't make me show. Hey.
Oh, is that all you got now?
What down is it second down?
Hey, at least that didn't like 10 different bloopers.
Yo, guy.
Huh?
Skip. Whew. You enjoy this. Because it's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
I want to know where Kawhi train at. Hey, Kawhi train.
He's in the lab right now.
Can you tweet me? I got a little time today.
Yeah.
But can you text me and let me know your guy in the lab? You see you taking shots from a distance. Look at my guy. My guy is not gonna be in the lab right now, Skip, because he just got out of the lab.
Oh, okay.
No mercy. Time for our hot topic of the day, sponsored by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Dak Prescott underwent successful ankle surgery on Sunday night, but is still looking at a 4 to 6 month recovery window. Backup quarterback Andy Dalton, meanwhile, will be tasked with guiding a team that currently sits in first place in their division despite just a 2-3 record. But Philly, Washington, and even New York are all within striking distance right now. So, Shannon, will the Cowboys still win the NFC East?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, Skip, but that's not saying much. They're not, I mean, the teams in that division aren't very good. And as you mentioned, you win your division, you get a home playoff game. But, Skip, I don't see a scenario where either the Eagles or the Cowboys win this division and they win a playoff game. I just don't see it. And I could be wrong. I think when you look at the Eagles, Alshon and D-Jack, Jalen Reagor. I mean, Skip, they're relying on Fulgham. They're relying on Greg Ward Jr. It just, at some point in time, that catches up with you. I don't think Doug Peterson has coached a good game, called a good game this year. I definitely don't think Carson Wentz has played a good game this year. They've been defensive. They've been a little inconsistent, but I normally can count on them more so than I can the offense. And so for me, Skip, 7-8 wins, they're probably going to win this division. And to say that it's not going to be like the AFC North. Somebody's probably going to have to get to 12-4, 13-3, Skip, to win that division. And they might have 3 teams come out of that division because you got 2 wild cards. You know what? 2 wild cards, 3 wild cards this year because you got 4 division winners, 3 wild cards instead of. Yep. So 3 playoff teams might actually come from 1 division. So if that was the AFC North and you're talking about, well, who's going to win the division? I was like, okay, this team's going to win it. Feel good saying they're going to be, 12, 11, 12, somewhere between 11-5, 13-3. But to say somebody's going to win the NFC East and you can get to 8 wins and win that division, so I'm going to say the Cowboys will win by default. They have the most talent of anybody in the NFC East. But I think the Eagles, if they could get healthy and sustain that for any period of time, I think they could win it, but I just don't see them being healthy enough to win.
Right now, from what I saw of Eagles at Steelers, I think the Eagles are playing a little better football than the Cowboys on both sides of the ball. I was impressed. It was higher scoring, but they hung in there, and they had a chance to win it. Your man, walk it to him. He would sometimes bounce it to him, but he made some good throws. Fulgham's coming along. He looks like he's pretty good, and I've always liked Greg Ward Jr. So they're reasonable in their receiving core, and Miles Sanders he can get loose occasionally and hurt you. Okay, so their defense is definitely better than Dallas's. But what did I tell you after I saw that game on Sunday? I can't argue the stats that the Giants put up. But I did see flashes all over my defense of signs of life, of the potential to come back together and be a decent unit by midseason. I saw 3 of my players on defense make the Pro Football Focus weekly All-Pro team. They do one every week, and 3 of my guys made first-team All-Pro. That's everybody all over the league in all weekend. Everybody gets a shot at making All-Pro, and guess who made it? I told you, Jalen Smith, that might have been the best game he's played as a Dallas Cowboy. He was everywhere. His pride got wounded, and he said, okay, watch this. And Aldon Smith made it, and the guy you've been all over, D-Law, DeMarcus Lawrence, he made first-team All-Pro this week.
Skip, if somebody had a game like Aaron Donald had, I'd say, you know what, Skip, they deserve to be on there. But, Skip, they gave up 34 points.
Well, now remember,
to a team that averages 12.
My quarterback gave up 7 of those.
Okay, so now they gave up 27 points to a team that averages 12. How is that good? I can see, Skip, if they held them to their average, or they held them to, let's just say they held them to 17. Okay, I get you. Okay, they got 5 points. Skip, how you get...
And I'll even pile on myself here. Twice they got calls that were ticky-tack at best that saved 4 points and 4 points because it turned into field goals as opposed to a touchdown that got scored. The trick play, the fake field goal, and then another deep pass for a touchdown, and they called a pick play. Okay? So I got saved on those. I'll give you both of those. I still saw signs of new life. I still know that my man Randy Gregory is about to be, he's reinstated, he's practicing, and he can play next week. Not Arizona, but it's at Washington. He can play at Washington. Last seen in 2018, Randy Gregory had 6 sacks. He can fly off the edge, even in ways D-Law and Aldon Smith can't. They're bigger, stronger, more bull rushers. Randy Gregory just flies off the edge, and he's not too old. He's 27 years of age. I believe he will be a factor if they can keep him eligible, obviously. Okay? So that will help. I saw Anthony Brown come back from injury, and he was the one who scooped and scored off the D-Law sack fumble. And I thought, okay, he's pretty good. Maybe the kids, maybe Trevon Diggs will start to figure it out. Maybe the safeties will be a little bit safer than they've been. I
saw Jeff Heath got a pick on Sunday.
He did. Loved it. I tweeted about it.
Your guy?
I said I missed him. Jeff Heath. He made me miss him. And I always thought he was just another guy. But he overachieved, and now he made the first team All-Pro. Okay. And by the way, my guy CeeDee Lamb made first team All-Pro because he should have. He went over 100 yards. So what's the new formula? It's Zeke's team. It's eat, Zeke, eat. And it's Andy Dalton as, I'll give you this, as game manager. If you want to say game manager, because I don't think it bothers him a bit. He seems to have little to no ego. Whatever needs to get done, he will get it done. He has 3 big-time receivers to throw to. He has a decent tight end to throw to. But it won't matter as much as it did to Dak because I hope they don't fall behind by 17 or 21 or whatever.
Well, hopefully, if they were to fall behind, I don't hope, but if they were to fall behind, clearly you don't have the same confidence in Andy Dalton as you did.
You're done. You're done. You're going to lose badly. And Dak, the ultimate captain comeback, he will at least get you back in the game. And they got back in the game the other day because of a sack fumble and a scoop and score. That's what tied the game. Okay, well, that's a sign of life. My defense doesn't take it away. It had 2 takeaways the whole year. Now it's got another one. It's got 3. It's still the worst in the league in turnover ratio.
One also.
Okay, I got.
So you got your hands full because you got a guy not only can throw the football, you got a guy that can run around and scramble on Monday night. So good luck trying to contain him.
Which is why they are are they 3-point or maybe it's 3.5-point underdogs?
And D-Hop.
Yep, and D-Hop. I got it. But I still like my new formula for success. And I definitely like my schedule against the Eagles' schedule because if I look down this schedule, I don't know what you're going to do with this, but you got Baltimore next, and you still have to go to Cleveland. You got the Seahawks on a Monday night. You got to go to Green Bay. You got the Saints. You got to go to Kyler Murray, and you got to go to Dallas. Those are your hard games. If you lose all those, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more losses. You already have 3. 10 losses?
Well, I mean, because they won the division, they get punished because you guys get to dodge Baltimore. You guys get to dodge Green Bay.
Okay, well, I'll take it because we went 8-8 last year, so we got paid back with a slightly easier schedule than yours. Slightly
no
easier.
Baltimore, no Green Bay. Okay. You talking about slightly?
Slightly easier than yours. Well, we still got We got Arizona, and we're not even favored at home. And then we got to go to Philly, and we got the Steelers at home. We got to go to Minnesota. We got to go to Baltimore. We have to go to Baltimore.
Oh, y'all got Baltimore. That's a hill.
We have to go.
Y'all catch a hill.
But we also get to go to Cincinnati. We get the 49ers at home. So maybe
49ers
maybe we
struggling.
can get to 8-8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
8-8 going to win the division.
I still like my chances, but I'll give you by default. But at least we can be delusional for another offseason.
I mean,
right?
how do you hang that banner? NFC East champs.
Nobody
8-8.
will hang that banner.
Oh yeah, y'all will.
We'll hang it in infamy.
No.
Yeah.
You proud of that?
Yeah. I told you it's delusion. You can fool yourself for a whole nother off season.
Yeah,
right?
we were close.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Skip, if you guys go 8-8, you're like, man, if we bring Dak back, we'd have definitely won an extra game here or there. Dak could have put it at made it 10-6 and yada yada yada. So,
Yada yada yada. Yep. It's our year. Every other year we
your
win.
day coming though.
Yep.
No mercy. The Cowboys are moving forward without Dak Prescott after the QB suffered a season-ending ankle injury during their win over the Giants on Sunday. With Dak playing this season on the franchise tag, there have already been whispers that we may have just seen Prescott's last game in a Dallas uniform. One anonymous exec even told The Athletic that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys could be tempted to move forward with a discounted Andy Dalton next season. Super Bowl champ and Fox Sports college football analyst Reggie Bush joining us this morning. Reggie, I'm going to get right to the point. How much money will this injury cost Dak?
Well, I don't think it's going to cost him that much money because you got to think as a quarterback, you're always in a position of leverage, especially quarterbacks in this day and age. And Dak having this injury obviously was horrible. We feel for him. You hate to see it happen. But if Dak can bounce back next year, which I'm sure he can, he's young enough, his body's going to snap back. Now, this will take some time to get back to feeling like himself. But if Dak can come back next year, play well, he will be in the same exact position he was this year. And so I only think that this injury delays him, 1 year. Maybe if he comes back next year, plays well, you still got to, there are going to be talks about maybe franchise tag, long-term contract, or letting him go to the free agency market. In any of those situations, he's still going to get paid. He's still going to get his money. So as long as Dak can bounce back and get back to being healthy, take some time to take care of his injury and just make sure that he's 100% next time he steps on that football field. But if Dak just goes back to being the same Dak, it'll be enough for him to get a big contract. And I don't have any doubts in my mind that he's going to do that, especially with the way that technology is and just how much better our doctors have gotten over the years with injuries like this.
I think in the short term, it hurts him. I just, everybody keeps throwing around the franchise tag. It's just hard for me to see them throwing out $38 million, Skip. And they say the cap might come down to 175.
Yeah, from 200.
From 200 to 175.
COVID, yeah.
Okay, if you give Dak $38 million, that's 22% of your cap. Now, they always tell me that they want to keep the quarterback or the highest paid player around 14%. So you mean to tell me a guy coming off that injury, like it's not an Achilles injury, and like you said, quarterbacks get an opportunity to come back because they don't have to have the mobility to stay up a receiver or defensive back. So it's different. Quarterback injuries are different, Skip. And plus, like I said, quarterbacks have injuries and they play another 10, 15 years. So for me, I think in the short term, it might hurt him because he might not get that $38 million from a franchise tag. He might have to play on a cheaper number. But I agree with you on this end. If he comes back next year, he's healthy, he plays well. So now going into 2022, Skip, he'll be able to get that big payday that he wants. So in other words, he would just had to push it off for basically 2 years. But if he at the end of the day, if he gets the kind of money that he wants, it's 2 years had to wait, a lot of tears, a lot of sleepless nights. But I believe in the short term, it hurts him. Long term, if he comes back, he's healthy. Dak Prescott gets paid in the long run.
I am with Reggie Bush on this one. I don't know why you continue to insist that he wouldn't get that tag next year. I think Jerry will have no choice but to give him the tag sight unseen because you'll have no idea if he's going to be 100% or 89%. You're just going to have to hope that the doctors say he looks like he's going to be really good, like he should be 100% at or near.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. What if you're under the same protocols as we are now? no OTAs, no mini camps. Basically, you got to show up to training camp and you just got to go.
You're going to have to close your eyes and plunge $38 million, which is 22% of your cap.
Right.
Look, Jerry Jones will crumble under public perception and opinion when it affects his bottom line. And the irony of this conversation is I believe Jerry, through their big contractual battle, has turned Dak into a sympathetic figure. And obviously, we are all just devastated to see this injury. Well, again, Dak is a sympathetic figure. I think Jerry will say, okay, we've seen a lot from him. I didn't see $40 million a year a lot, but I saw enough to say, let's try the tag one more time. The only thing I hate about the tag for the young man's sake is this will be 3 straight years he's had to prove himself, right?
Yes.
And I hate it because it's not fun, you know, and it's not healthy. It's not psychologically healthy for him or the football team.
Right.
Because all the players are going to get asked all year long. Next year, what do you think about? Do you think Dak's going to get a long term or whatever? And if he plays the way he's been playing, I think Jerry will plunge and give him, and they're going to have to fight over 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But I think after next year, he would get the long term deal that he wanted
in 2022.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady tore his ACL up.
Yeah.
He was able to come back from injury. Drew Brees tore his shoulder up. We didn't even know if Drew Brees was going to be able to throw a football ever again. And then now look where he is. Most passing touchdowns, most career passing touchdowns, most career completions, you know, most career yardage. So for quarterbacks, they're always in positions of leverage. And if he was a running back, I'm like, hey, man, that's probably it for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because for running backs, we don't have that much time to give away. We don't have a year or two to miss. We have to get it while we can. For quarterbacks right now, we see Tom Brady playing to 40-plus years, Drew Brees 40-plus years, Aaron Rodgers still looks good late into his 30s. So for Dak Prescott, he's young. He's going to snap back. The doctors are going to make sure that he gets back to his old self. And here's the thing about also fracturing and breaking bones. I've broken my fibula before. What the doctors told me is that whenever you come back from a broken bone, it usually heals back twice as thick, twice as tough, because ligaments are like rubber bands. When you tear those, they are always susceptible to being torn again. And so for a broken bone, a fracture like this, it's going to heal back a lot stronger for Dak. And I'm not saying he won't break it again, but it's definitely going to be different from if he tore his ACL or PCL or something like that.
I'm sure they're going to put plates and screws in there. But Tom Brady's different. Tom Brady was playing for $100,000. Coach Belichick got him on the cheap, Skip, so you could always bring him back. But if you remember, Reggie, Drew only got a 6-year deal, a 6-year, $60 million deal, only $10 million. Yeah. So there was not a whole lot of money. There was the Saints protecting themselves, but they had to get somebody to feel that. And I don't think Jerry's like, we're the Cowboys. We don't really need a face or a player to sell seats in this building. The Saints had to go out on a limb because they had nothing. And so with that being said, like I said, I believe in the short term, but Skip is hell-bent believing that they're going to franchise him again, which will put him around $69 million for 2 years, which is not bad money.
Not bad. That's good money. That's good money. That's
Reggie Bush, go one other direction with us. There's a piece today in The Athletic by Mike Sando quoting anonymous GMs as speculating about what Andy Dalton could do to affect Jerry Jones' view of how to approach a lower cap. Look, Andy Dalton is not Dak, but he's not bad. He's made 3 Pro Bowls. His first 5 years in Cincinnati, he averaged winning 10 games a year. Not bad. What if Andy Dalton becomes sort of the ultimate backup quarterback game manager? They feed Zeke. They become more back to being a running football team that Shannon wanted them to be from the start anyway. And they somehow steal, quote unquote, the worst division in pro football maybe ever, the least, the NFC least. And what if Jerry sits back and says, you know, Andy's a good guy. He's a Texas kid. He went to TCU. He's from suburban Houston. What if we pay him $20 million going forward, and we spend all the rest of our cap trying to shore up a defense that right now has given up more points than any defense in football? Could you see that happening going forward with Andy as the game manager starter.
I could see that, but I still think Dak has just warranted and done enough to showcase that he is the future. And listen, Andy Dalton's a great player. I think Jerry Jones did an amazing job by getting him to be the backup quarterback this year. And you see how it played out. He gave himself an insurance policy. But for Dak Prescott, I think he's done enough. I think he's shown enough, one, that he's a fighter, two, that he can play, he wins football games, and the players love him. Players love to play for him. Players love to go out there and give their all for him. That's the kind of leader that you want on your football team. You want to build with somebody who understands the culture. I don't think Andy Dalton understands the culture just yet because he hasn't been there long enough. And then to say that they're just going to turn back into a running team, that's not Mike McCarthy's MO. That's not what he does. He's not a running kind of coach. So for them to turn around and hand the football to Zeke, 30, 35 times a game, I just don't see that happening because that's not what Mike McCarthy does. That's not part of his success. All those years in Green Bay, I was begging for him to get a running back, begging for him to go get a running game to support Aaron Rodgers. Well, now he has that. And so I think this is an opportunity for him to show if he can adapt.
Well, he had a running back, or he thought he had one, but the guy couldn't stay at the buffet line in Green Bay. So he tried to do that with the guy that he took. But here's the one reason why I don't believe Jerry would do this, Skip. What was the reason in 2016 that Jerry wanted to go back to Tony Romo? Because Dak was turning around, handing the ball off. It wasn't box office. Nope. There ain't no razz to that. Jerry Jones want fireworks. I got $1 billion playpen. I need fireworks. I need the circus to come to town. The circus comes when you're throwing for 400 or 500 yards. You see how he gets excited, Skip, when they throwing them touchdowns? And then when you run the ball in the end zone, Jerry just sitting down. He nodded over there. He nodded, Steven. But when they throw touchdowns, Jerry's standing up. He cheering, yeah. So the likelihood of Jerry wanting to run the football, Jerry likes box office. Ain't no box office in running the football.
Well, I would like to believe that my owner or my team wants to win games more than entertain.
No, he don't. No. He's in entertainment business.
Oh, no. Entertainment business.
No mercy. Despite winning his 4th championship and finals MVP, LeBron James already has his eyes on the next one, as the King reportedly told AD, quote, "We've got more work to do if the Lakers want to win another ring next year." Still, for a franchise that hasn't won any titles in the past 10 seasons, the celebration will keep on going, and nobody is more excited than our next guest. We're so happy to be joined by the one and only Snoop Dogg this morning, diehard member of Laker Nation. Snoop, I'm so happy for you. Congrats to your Lakers. The floor is yours.
Hey, look here. Y'all know what these are? This is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's 1971 All-Star ring, and this Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 1985 All-Star ring. How about that?
True Laker fan. Super fan.
Hello.
Snoop, bro, you hit me up shortly after the buzzer sounded. Man, I haven't heard you this happy in such a long time. What was going through your mind when the confetti starts to fall down and you're like, my Lakers are champs in their rightful place again?
I just felt like we started 2020 off on such a bad note, and for the NBA to pull off a season where they had a bubble with no bad tests. The games were exciting. They were interesting. Teams had an opportunity to get there. They played their hearts out. New players shined. And then it came down to the big fish, LeBron James and AD, which was favored to win it all season. And, too bad the Clippers couldn't make it, but that's not our responsibility. And I heard you, Skip, you said we avoided them. We did not avoid them. They was in the same bubble we was in. They didn't handle their business. Lemon Pepper Lou should have went and got them wings, and Doc Rivers should have had his team under control. It was too much load management. Our team was gelling. They was coming together. Dwight Howard played his role. Rondo played his role. When you got seasoned vets like that don't have a problem with playing their role, and then LeBron James got those other guys up to par, KCP, Caruso, man, they came to play this year, and they really impressed me, and it made me so happy to see them go from terrible 2 years ago to in the finals. And that's the work that LeBron James puts in when he comes to a franchise to change the whole environment to get it back to where it is right now. And we're so happy in LA that LeBron came to us and brought AD and put us back in a place where we can say, you know what? We started off the year bad. We lost Kobe and Gigi. But this championship show gives us a little bit of, rejoicement at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. So, Snoop, I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate Laker Nation. I even want to congratulate you on your Steelers so far, who are 5-0. Maybe this is your year in both the NBA and the NFL. But let's be real about what just went down. Your Lakers got every break imaginable. It was like it was meant to be after the late, great Kobe passed. Everything broke your way. All the way from the pandemic that gave LeBron 5 months off to rest up and revitalize and get ready for the big playoff push. And then, to your point, the Clippers didn't even want to go to the bubble. They had issues, Black Lives Matter issues. They had COVID issues. They just didn't want to be there. And in the end, going into the playoffs, Las Vegas, all the odds makers favored the Clippers over your Lakers. And you did avoid them because they were looking ahead to wanting to get you.
Skip, slap him in the back, he's choking. They choke. That's what they do every year. Skip, sorry to hurt your feelings, but I've been in L.A. my whole life.
I know.
They ain't won nothing. They ain't never even went to a Western Conference Finals.
Nope.
They had the Lob City when we was sorry. When we were sorry for 6 years, they had Lob City and still couldn't go.
Snoop.
Their best chance to win was when they had Lob City.
Their best chance to win was the first closeout game against the Nuggets. They were up, what was it? 16. 16 points. Yeah, against
we
the
say
Nuggets.
in L.A., we not the Clippers. That's what we say in L.A. When the Denver Nuggets came to play us, we ate them Nuggets. You see that? We had a 5-piece nugget dinner. Murray, Jokic,
yeah. Okay.
Porter, them Nuggets was good.
Okay, but Snoop, then you get to the finals, and who's left from the East? The 5 seed, a team that has to play 3 rookies high minutes. 2 of them started, one of them, Tyler Hero, the youngest player ever to play in the finals. And what happened in game 1? They lost Dragic, their leading playoff scorer. And then they lost Bam, their heart and soul, their energizer. And he tried to come back 2 games later, and his bum shoulder never was quite right. You got this was an epic mismatch against the Miami Heat. You know it, and I know it. You should have swept them.
Skip. But the thing is this, when you're a coach and you're a team, your job is to coach your team, not the other team. And that's what you keep trying to do. You keep trying to put their blame on us like it's our fault the Clippers lost. It's our fault the Miami Heat beat the Bucks. It's our fault. No, your job is to handle your business before you to get to that game and leave the excuses behind. I give Miami Heat a lot of credit because they played their butts off. They played hard. They made us work. They made us make adjustments. They pushed us to the limit in every game that we played except those 2 games, the first one and the last game. So I give them a lot of kudos. Nobody really knew those guys. They came together. They played. They made no excuses. Sound like you making excuses for everybody else. You can't do that. When you get to the bubble, you knew the rules and regulations. You knew the stipulations. You got there. It ain't no asterisk. It is what it is. This is what it is, Skip. You see that ink?
Yep.
That's what it is.
Is that brand new?
KB on the bottom, championship on top.
Woo. Did you just get that yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Woo.
Sir, yes.
Yeah, you got one too, right?
I'm thinking about getting me a one. Yeah. But Jenny Sunday blowing my horn. I was in the parade over there in Westwood and Beverly Hills.
You know what? How about me and you have our own little parade, Shannon? Let's do that.
We're gonna have a 2. We're gonna have a 2. Well, I need to rent a pickup truck, get to go downtown in front of Staples Center and just start blaring music. Snoop, when you look at our team, we had Dwight Howard. Nobody wanted Dwight. Oh, he's a cancer. He'll kill your locker room. We got Keith Morris at the trade deadline. Nobody wanted him. Rondo. Caruso. We got Caruso from South Bay. So look at all the fill-in pieces that we had. Y'all talking about, Kawhi shunned him. Paul George. Kawhi chose Paul George and Pat Beverly over AD and LeBron. How he looking now, Snoop?
Who you talking about, playoff P?
Way off P. Because he way out shooting them shots.
Look, let me tell y'all something about this basketball thing, man. It starts with your leader, right? And Kawhi Leonard's a great basketball player, but to me, he's not a great leader. Like, he doesn't lead he leads with his play.
Right.
Basically. He don't lead vocally. LeBron James is strong enough to lead with his play, to lead with vocals, and to lead by being like a general manager by saying, go get him, bring me him. I know he's not a big name player, but he's going to play his role. It's all about the role. When LeBron builds a team, he wants role players. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, that's why he is a little bit better than Kawhi Leonard as far as being able to take a team and a franchise and make them win, because he makes everybody better. Kawhi Leonard comes to the team as maybe him and somebody else, but it wasn't a whole team effort. The Lakers became a team in the bubble.
Well, Kyle Lowry was the leader. Kawhi's style of works when you're winning. But if you have chaos or if you have crisis in your locker room, Kawhi Leonard's style won't work, because just playing won't solve that issue in the locker room. They had issues in the locker room with Paul George thinking that he was a superstar. And they had a problem with guys load managing, because they said, hold on, wait a minute. You do realize that we went to the second round. We took 2 games off of a healthy Golden State. And now you guys come in here and then y'all get carte blanche service? Where they do that at, Doc? Gave those guys privileges that they hadn't earned. What you did over there, they got to do with right here. You need to win for us, just like the Laker faithful wanted LeBron. We know you got MVPs. We know you win titles. But if you want love and adoration that Magic and Kobe and Shaq and all those greats get, bring us one. Now they got it. They love LeBron. They finna put up a new mural. I bet they don't deface that one, Skip.
No.
You was doing it. You was defacing. Yeah, it was Skip defacing.
Skip, you was doing it. I got footage of you, Skip. I got footage of you spray painting that LeBron.
I wouldn't stoop to that.
I wasn't gonna tell on you, but I'm gonna show that footage later on today.
Look, the leader of the Los Angeles Clippers was Doc Rivers, and they even went south on him, and he lost his job because of it. But I'm hoping the Clippers will elevate one Ty Lue, who might just be kryptonite for LeBron James, because he knows all the flaws and all the weaknesses.
What about Spo? Didn't Spo know all the flaws and all the weaknesses?
I don't know. He didn't have the firepower.
Y'all ain't got the firepower. Skip, Kawhi cannot stop LeBron. Paul George, Patrick Beverly. Okay. And even if you try to throw all these bodies at LeBron, what are you going to do with AD? Do you realize AD going to even be better next year?
What happened on opening night when AD went blank in the fourth quarter? He had a big old goose egg.
Y'all like living off that. Opening night ain't got nothing to do with these rings and that banner. What's happening when the season starts next year? It's going to be another banner up there, and the Clippers got to come back to our house. Our little brothers, our little sisters, got to come back to our house and use our little, play area, and then get on out of there. Go get your own stadium, because y'all don't got no banners. We don't even want y'all in here no more. This is Laker Nation. 17. Say it with me, Skip. 17.
Hey, Snoop, just think about you got to go live in somebody's house, and then when you go stay, you got to cover up all their accomplishments. You got to block out all those retired numbers, all those banners that come play in our house. I'm like, why are those black sheets are hanging up? Because y'all got no history, and that's our building with our history.
Well, wait a second. We are building our own mansion out in Inglewood right now.
It ain't gonna have
that?
Not one banner gonna be up in there. What y'all want to put a banner up? What y'all did? Y'all gonna have Lob City banner?
Shout out to the LA Sparks, UCLA basketball team, and the YMCA team. All of them better than the Clippers.
Hey, they gonna go buy trophies. They gonna go buy banners to hang, because they got none. They got no history. Y'all ain't won nothing, Skip. Y'all can't even say y'all been to Western Conference Finals. Y'all got nothing.
Just wait till next year.
And then you go.
So, Snoop, you got to sum it up for us. How many more will Bron and AD win for your Lakers in L.A.?
I say LeBron is on. He got 2 more years with us, right?
Yep.
I think we're going to get 2 more. I think we'll get 2 more, and I think LeBron, I think he can play well into his 40s, but I think he's going to pass it off to AD and show AD how to become a leader and be more aggressive and be more of a tone setter and not wait on LeBron to push his button. I think being around LeBron is going to give him that killer instinct that he desperately needs at certain occasions where he falls off. So being around somebody as great as LeBron, I feel like, championships and finals is always a part of the resume, and I think we'll be there every year that he's here.
And we're gonna bring some pieces in. Don't think we set. We not set.
Hey, Bradley Beal just moved to LA, huh?
Oh, If Skip, you remember that?
Yeah.
If we get Bradley Beal, it's over for the next 3 years.
How are you going to fit him under?
Don't worry about it.
Somebody got to go.
Yeah. All I know is that Kawhi Leonard watches this show, and I think he just watched Snoop predict the Lakers are going to win the next 2.
I got Kawhi Leonard number on speed there.
Yes,
I can call him and tell him first that they saw it.
Snoop, it is so good to have you on the show. It is so good to see you this happy.
I love you, Skip.
Continue celebrating.
Snoop.
Continue to rub it in to Skip. All right, we're going to check in with you soon. I hope to see you in person as well. So thanks again.
No mercy.
Start Saturday strong with a battle in the Big 12 as Kansas takes on the hard-hitting Mountaineers of West Virginia. It all starts with the Big Noon Kickoff pregame show at 10 a.m. Eastern, all part of Big Noon Saturday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The Chargers held a 20-3 lead over the Saints last night, but New Orleans rallied back in the second half to come out with a 30-27 victory in overtime. Justin Herbert became the first rookie to throw for 4 touchdowns on Monday Night Football and also finished with a 74 QBR as opposed to Drew Brees only getting a 66. Reggie Bush is back with us this morning on Undisputed. Reggie, you won a championship with Drew. From what you've seen, does he have enough left in the tank to take his team all the way to the Super Bowl?
Without a doubt, he has enough left in the tank. I think anybody who watched that game last night saw a fighter. You saw somebody overcome adversity. You saw an old veteran quarterback make some mistakes early, but still find a way to will his team to a win late in the game. And I'm so happy they won that game because I knew just about every media person in the world was ready to kill Drew Brees today. But we saw a fighter. We saw a team overcome some of its early mistakes. The defensive secondary got shredded. Justin Herbert can play. I love watching this kid. He's tall, he's athletic. He finds the open receivers when there's a breakdown. He can read defenses. He's a leader. He's a fighter. Like, what else do you want out of a quarterback that Justin Herbert, other than what Justin Herbert gives you? The Saints met a really good football team last. The Chargers are a raw team. A record may not showcase that, being 1-4, but at the end of the day, this is a team with all-stars on it. Keenan Allen. You go on the defensive side of the ball, Bosa. I mean, you got players all over the place on this football team, and they gave the Saints everything they could handle last night. And the Saints still found a way to win the football game without their best target, Michael Thomas. And that's one thing that I just want to make the point of because, again, Drew Brees has been doing all. They're 3-2 right now. They're the leaders in their division in the NFC South without having used their best weapon, Michael Thomas, most of the season. So once Michael Thomas comes back, it's going to open up everything else for the receivers, for the run game, for Alvin Kamara, and also for Drew Brees.
For me, watching Drew over the last 5 weeks, this version of Drew Brees will not lead them to the Super Bowl. He didn't play well against Tampa, and I don't think he's played particularly well. Now, he had spots in which he's played well. But right now, they're not beating Green Bay. They're not beating Seattle. You're not playing. The likelihood of you facing a rookie quarterback in the playoffs are not very good. And what I'm seeing from Drew Brees, I don't know if he has the confidence to fit that ball into small windows. He's never had the strongest arm, Reggie, but Drew used to throw with great anticipation and can fit balls into windows. He's no longer doing that. There's a lot of skip passes. There's a lot of overthrows. And I think that, and Skip and I was talking about this earlier, when you're a great player, you don't get compared to other great players. You get compared to a younger version of yourself. And what we've seen from Drew Brees, and yes, he's still completing 66% of his passes, but when you're used to seeing a guy complete 75, 80% of his passes, you're like, well, what's going on? And maybe you're right. Maybe Michael Thomas not being there because he's a very one receiver dominant player. We saw that last night with Emmanuel Sanders. But from what I'm seeing and their defense, no, they're not going to the Super Bowl, Reggie. I'm sorry.
That's 14 points, though, with Michael Thomas on the field. Guaranteed 14 points. And then you open up everything else for the receivers, for Emmanuel Sanders, for Alvin Kamara, for the run game. They are missing one of their biggest key assets on this offense. And again, I know they lost to the Green Bay Packers, and Green Bay didn't have one of their best weapons. But we cannot sit here and try to say that Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers in the NFL, who set records last year with Drew Brees, He does not have his Robin right now. He does not have his Batman. They are missing that chemistry right now on the football field, and that's why defenses are able to play a little bit tighter, right? They can play man coverage. The Chargers played man coverage so much last night.
Because Drew can't throw the ball over the head, Reggie. They saying, Drew, you can't throw the ball over our head. We're going to make you fit the ball in the tight windows. And if you can do that, you can beat us. If you can't, they're playing straight man across the board.
Threat right now. Who's their deep threat right now that's scaring any secondary? When you look at the New Orleans Saints right now, if I'm a defensive coordinator, who am I scared of from that receiver position? Nobody scares me to threaten me deep. Until we get Michael Thomas back, then that deep threat is going to come back to us. But right now, we don't have that deep ball right now because nobody is scared of our receivers.
So, Reggie, once upon a time, you won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees. When you came out of USC and you started catching passes from Drew Brees, do you think his arm strength was much stronger in those days than it is from what you see on TV now?
I think just from the natural standpoint of age, right? You're going to have some drop off. Nobody is saying that Drew Brees is still zipping the ball like he was in 2006. That's a completely different player. But what you can do as an athlete and as a competitor, you can learn how to adapt. The same way LeBron is learning how to adapt in year 17, winning championships, is the same thing that great players like Drew Brees can do, like Tom Brady can do. That's why they're still the starting quarterbacks of NFL franchise teams, because they can still do it. Drew Brees has the most completions, the most yards, the most touchdowns, and the most passing attempts. What else do you want from this guy? No, it's not going to look the same in year 18, 19, whatever, but he can still win you football games. He can still lead your team to victory. And I use Peyton Manning as a great example. He was not throwing the ball well his last year when they won that Super Bowl in Denver. So Drew Brees can get that, can do the same thing.
Well, you better have your defense there. I need to see a Von Miller and a D. Ware and some of those two guys on those Rikers Island, Chris Harris Jr. and Akeem Talib. But here's the thing: what teams are not afraid of is Drew Brees throwing the ball over their head. If you go back and look at the playoffs, the last 3 years, and you look at Drew Brees in the playoffs, and you tell me that's the same guy in the regular season, when they start clamping down, when they start getting up in those receivers' faces and says, okay, Drew, throw this ball in this window here. You've seen it. You saw Minnesota last year.
I've seen it. Yep.
And even when what they call it, the miracle in Minnesota, whatever they want to call that. Drew didn't play well early, Reggie. They just had gotten conservative and says, you know what? Let's put it in the tank, and they allowed Drew to come back. But Drew hadn't played well in a playoff game in a very long time.
Yes, and that's absolutely on Drew Brees. That is 100% on Drew, to make sure that he has his team in the right positions to win the game, that he continues to lead his team, because at the end of the day, that's most of the reason why Drew is here, is to give them that leadership that he has given them since he stepped in the New Orleans Saints uniform. So I saw that last night. Last night's game kind of reminded me of 2009 when we played against the Miami Dolphins. They had Ricky Williams, Ronnie Brown. They rushed for like 200 yards each on us by halftime. By the end of the game, Drew Brees did the same thing, jumped over the end zone, stuck the ball out, got a touchdown. He led us back to victory. That's why Drew is here. I'm not expecting Drew to outduel Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert looks amazing right now, but I am expecting Drew Brees to be the best leader on that football field.
Well, you ain't expecting him to outdo Justin Herbert. Well, what the hell are they going to do with Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady if you have to see him again?
It's a team effort. It's a team effort.
Okay.
We need everybody.
So, Reggie, the way I sum this up is I see Drew Brees aging. Not a lot, but slowly but surely aging. I see loss of arm strength. I see him laboring to deliver balls that he used to deliver without effort. I don't see Tom Brady aging the way Shannon does. Shannon thinks he's basically fallen off the cliff. Tom Brady has. But he looks stronger to me at 43 than Brees does. I don't even know, what is he, 41 now? I think he's 41. Yeah, than Drew Brees. I see one aging far more than Tom Brady is aging. That's just me.
Listen, you got to also remember, Drew tore his shoulder up in 2005, whatever year that was. So you cannot sit here and you cannot expect there to not be any residual effects, when you've when you played this long in the league. Like, Drew's shoulder has been through a lot. It's a surgically repaired shoulder. There is going to be some drop-off. Tom Brady never tore his shoulder up the same way Drew Brees did. He tore his knee up the same way, or he tore his knee up pretty bad. And we see Tom Brady can't run. He can't scramble. And so for Drew Brees right now, I do see some decline. I do see that. I don't see that same zip, but I do still see a fighter. I do still see a leader. And I see somebody that understands the league and understands how to adjust to all those elements.
No mercy. LeBron James won his 4th career ring on Sunday night, and now people are asking where this Lakers title team ranks against his other championship squads. USA Today ranked his 2013 Miami Heat team as the best after they beat the Spurs in a 7-game thriller, followed by his first Miami title team, the 2016 Cavs, and finally the 2020 Lakers. So, Shannon, which was LeBron's best championship team?
I think I'm going to have to agree, Skip. I think because the addition of Ray Allen to that second championship team, and they have Mike Miller, they had specialists that were really good at shooting threes, Skip. Unlike this team, can you imagine if Ray Allen and Mike Miller had the opportunities that they gave Danny Green and that they gave some of these other guys? Because you talk about all the time how Mike Miller couldn't miss, how Rio Chalmers had games where he couldn't miss a three. And so I would agree with that.
So you're going 2013.
I'm going to go 2013. Man, this is hard because the thing is that I think with the exception of 2016, the 2012 and the 2013 benches were better than what they had in 2020. But AD, so I'm going to go 2013, 2020. 2016, 2012.
AD's not going to like this. You realize that?
I understand that.
You're just disrespecting.
Skip, I put him in
baby goat? Skip, I thought you called him the baby goat.
But here's the thing. They had more, that 2013 team, Skip, had more depth. You got D-Wade, Chris Bosh. And then when you could go to the bench and you talk about Ray Allen, Mike Miller, Skip, that's a different animal. His best, I think his best teammate, his most talented teammates, no question, going to be AD. Because nobody can do what he does, can impact both ends. Dwayne Wade is phenomenal, Skip, but AD is just a different animal, Skip. 6'10 and a half, shoot the three ball, over 40% from the three, can put it on the floor, get to the mid-range, can put the ball all the way on the floor and get all the way to the rack. You foul him, Skip, at one point, he was 26 straight free throws made. So he was probably, 30 or 33, 34 at the free throw line. Skip, so
he went 90, 40, 50 in the finals, which is hard to do because he made, obviously, 40% of his threes. And
50% from the floor. They were the first teammates to average 25 and 10 and shoot over 50%. So I'm going to go 20. Skip, they had a 27-game win streak. 27 games, which is the second longest ever. I understand that the 2012, they had to get through the big three Celtics. They were down. I get all that, Skip, but I'm going to go 2013, and then I'm going to go 2020.
I will give you that AD is more talented than Dwayne Wade ever thought about being, because Dwayne might measure about 6'4", maybe.
I give him 6'4".
In his sneakers. But when it comes to winning intangibles, when it comes to making the shot at the moment, I'll take Dwayne Wade any day or any night over AD.
Skip, he coming now. This is his first one now. He coming now. You saw the shot that he hit against Denver. You saw that.
He had on a Mamba jersey, and I think he truly believed he was channeling Kobe Bryant.
He said it, Kobe.
He yelled Kobe as soon as he shot it. And I thought it was a break for him. The play was not called for him, so he didn't have to sweat the pressure of, I gotta make it. It just suddenly came over to him on the wing because Rondo looked to LeBron, play call for LeBron. I locked eyes with him. He didn't move. That's what Rondo said. AD swoops across the backside, and all of a sudden, what's his name from Denver?
You talking about Plumlee, Mason Plumlee.
He has no idea where he's going, and he kind of goes and doubles the LeBron James, who is a statue.
Yeah.
He doubles a statue.
Decoy got
because LeBron was 1 of 6 in that fourth quarter and wanted no part of a last shot that was called for him to take. And AD just caught it and shot it without having to think of anything except Kobe, and it went in.
Yep.
Does he have that dog in him? I have no idea.
Yes,
Charles
you do.
Barkley says no. I have my doubts.
Okay, what about, hold on, what was that? They had just game 4 when he hit the shot, that 3? That really put the...
Game 4, the finals?
Yes.
You're going to take some credit for playing a team with a 6'9" center?
They got there.
Really?
They got there. They beat the number 1 seed. They beat the 3 seed. They're the 3 seed. Wasn't Boston the 3 seed? Beat both of them. Beat the brakes off them.
Goran Dragic is their leading scorer, and he gets hurt and is gone after game 1.
Skip, they played hard. Jimmy Butler put 2 historic performances in the finals game.
They were aberrations. They're not what he does. He's not a prolific scorer.
Okay, Skip.
In the other games, he averaged 20, which is his career average.
But
okay.
So what year do you think is the best?
Okay, this is dear to my heart because it breaks my heart to even have to talk about this. When you add Ray Allen to what was already there to make it 4 Hall of Famers on one team, it's just too good.
You're right.
They went 66-16 in that regular season and won 27 straight games.
Right.
Ray Allen is the ultimate sniper, and he shot me right in the heart. And it was the first time the Ernestine jinx kicked in because that was the night I'm in Miami watching the game. And I called her just to check in with her during a timeout when we were up 5 with 18 seconds left.
Appreciate you doing that.
Yeah. And
Ernestine.
she said, we got this. And I was like, ooh, that didn't sound right. It just hit me wrong that she said, we got this. I was just going to sort of check in and see, are you okay right now? Because I had a little break, and I knew all hell was about to break loose because I thought we did have it, but I did not voice that.
Right.
Once those words tumbled out
don't burn the money, Skip. You know you gambling. Don't touch the money.
Okay.
Wait till the cards are laid out on the table and all that stuff. Don't burn the money.
That is correct. And in that final minute of that game, LeBron turned it over twice thanks to steals by Kawhi and Manu. And down the stretch, he made one big 3, but then to tie the game, he LeBricked a 3 that bounced so far off the back iron that Chris Bosh retrieved it because Tim Duncan, for reasons I still don't understand, was not in the game.
Because that's what Pop normally do. Yeah. And stop saying he made 1. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, he made 3 threes in the 4th quarter. 3 of them.
He LeBricked the 1 to tie, and Ray Allen saved his bacon, saved his legacy
16.
With the greatest clutch shot I have ever seen. And he didn't just make it, he stepped back behind the line. Do we have that shot?
We do.
It hurts me to see it, but he got his feet back behind, that's the LeBrick, and Bosh gets the rebound and kicks it, and he manages to scoot all the way back to get both feet behind the line, and then just rips it as clean as you can rip it. Unfortunately, Tony Parker was way late. Boom.
That's what my guy did.
And that was the end of me.
And you remember what happened in game 2? The game 2 when old Tiago Splitter tried to get a dunk. Bron said, no, sir.
You know what? That was a great finals. That was epic because my Spurs were at their height at that point. And on your team, you still had the snipers of the year before.
Yeah.
You still had Mike Miller.
Yep.
You had Mario Chalmers, who had taken over. And you had Battier, who in game 2 saved you because he made 6 threes at Oklahoma City. Remember, Oklahoma City won game 1 in a rout, and it looked like the 3 baby Jordans. You know, you had KD, Westbrook, and Harden, 3 future MVPs.
We know they would go. We knew they would relax after winning that first game.
Did you? Yeah.
That's what LeBron said.
And you knew that Shane Battier was going to make 6 threes in game 2.
That's why we got him on the team. What you think we got him on the team for? To make Kool-Aid, make Gatorade or something?
Saved you, and LeBron got away with a foul on KD.
No.
Obvious foul.
But let me tell you,
should have been called.
Let me tell you. Now we're gonna have the same. I'm gonna be sitting here in this very chair next year. I don't know exactly when. I don't know if it'll be June. I don't know if it'll be July. It might even be August. And we're going to have the same conversation. Which team was LeBron's best? And it's going to be the 2021 champion.
You think so? Well, this team also featured Chris Anderson, who was really good.
Birdman.
Yeah. And how about Udonis Haslem?
Yep.
Was he any good?
Yep.
And even Rashard Lewis contributed to that team because he could snipe it too, right? So that team was loaded with Ray Allen, who saved your legacy. You should have 3 championships, and you have 4.
Actually, we should have more. Because if Kyrie and Kevin Love don't get hurt, because that's what we're doing, right? We're talking about injuries because you mentioned about Gordon Dragic being hurt, and you're talking about Bam being hurt. So since we're talking about injuries, we should have another title. Because if Kyrie and Kevin Love doesn't get hurt, we beat them the first time around.
Are you a GOAT or not a GOAT?
I'm just asking you if that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is...
You had Game 4 of that series in the palm of your hand, in your house, in your castle.
Yeah.
You're the king of the castle, right?
You know what? Why you do that?
And you came up small thanks to Iggy, who put it on you that night.
Oh, Iggy put it on us, huh?
Well, he got inserted in the starting lineup, and he took you out.
Skip, you
shot 7 of 22.
You do realize LeBron did not play well in the finals against the Mavs. He was 17, 8, and 7, I think. That was his number. You do realize those are the numbers that Iggy and Kawhi won Finals MVP with?
I don't really care.
Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now
nobody ever accused them of being the GOAT.
That's what you did. You said Kawhi was the best player. And LeBron said, no, he's not. He hasn't been. He's never been. I don't know why you put him in discussion.
Kawhi's revenge tour starts now.
I mean, think about this, Skip. You win an award because you held a man to 36, 13, and 9 over 6 games, and you win Finals MVP. Okay. That's what you won it for.
Okay, I told you Duncan could have won it, Parker could have won it, Ginobili could have won it.
No, I'm talking about Iggy.
Oh, Iggy. I thought you were talking about Kawhi in 2014.
Oh, yeah.
When you got blown off the floor by a record finals.
Yeah, the Heat got blown off the court. The Heat did. The Miami Heat.
The GOAT did, quote unquote.
Well, what about this time? Did we get blown off the floor or we blew somebody off the court?
It was an epic mismatch.
No. Of course. Of course.
No mercy. The National League Championship Series continues today with Game 2 as the Braves look to take a 2-0 series lead against Clayton Kershaw, Mookie Betts, and the Dodgers. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Well, according to Fox Bet, Tom Brady and the Bucs opened up as 3-point home underdogs against the Packers this weekend. Now that line has shrunk slightly to 2.5 points. So, Shannon, are you surprised by this point spread?
I'm not, Skip. I think Green Bay and Seattle's kind of separated themselves as the best 2 teams in the NFC, but I give Green Bay just slightly a nod over Seattle because I think their defense is slightly better. I think it's a probably 2-horse race, I think, between Russ and Aaron Rodgers, Skip in the early MVP voting, Josh Allen probably pulling up a distant third. But the Packers have looked really good. Aaron Rodgers has been at the top of his game. I think he has, 12, 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's done a lot of his damage without Devontae Adams, who after the bye week, he comes back, so he'll be full go. Offense is averaging 38 points a game. So, Skip, for me, yeah, I am not surprised that they're favored in this situation, and I think they deserve to be favored in this situation.
I am surprised, and I am very happy that Tom Brady is a home underdog, and I'm very happy that the haters, the Brady haters, led by
Vegas don't hate Vegas.
Okay, wait a second. I'm not finished. That all the haters are ridiculing Tom Brady for apparently losing track of the downs. When he was clearly dinged, he was concussed and didn't even know where he was.
So he did lose track.
Well, yeah, because he got rocked by Khalil Mack about 4 times in the 4th quarter. He clearly was woozy. He's like, where am I?
But if he'd throw a touchdown pass, you wouldn't have mentioned nothing about being dinged. But now because he up there talking about Jack Rabbit wear cowboy boots, you talking about he was dinged. No.
All I know is I love the GOAT when he's ridiculed. I love the GOAT when he's challenged by Shannon Sharpe doing his, there he is. See, your eyes are dinged eyes. They're dingy. Right? So this is set up perfectly for Tom Brady to get Chris Godwin back, which I think he will. What?
I want 2 cases.
2 cases?
I want 2 cases.
We'll get there on Friday.
Is that what 2 cases?
Well, I might get a couple points on that.
No. You get no points. Oh, no. That's Tom Brady. That's the GOAT. Hold on. You talking about that's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, the haters, he going to prove his haters led by me. He going to prove us wrong. Why you want points?
Green Bay has a very good pass rush, but the Bears at Chicago on a Thursday night, they had a great pass rush.
What do I do?
They had a ferocious
You
pass
can't even beat old Nicky Foles.
Yeah.
I like to think that Aaron Rodgers is better than Nick Foles.
Well, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have met twice now, once at each place. Once at Foxborough, once at Lambeau. It's 1-1.
2-1.
Here we go.
2-1.
And what happened in 2018 was it was tied at 14-all going to the fourth quarter. And here, I'm sorry, 17-all. And then Tom Brady and company scored 14 in the fourth quarter, as they always do, to leave you in the dust.
That was before.
Yep.
But, you know, we might have been the last one to get 12, but that's the best 12. We already know who the best 12 is.
Really? Well, he's playing at a very high level. He's got his full complement of receivers back. And if Tom has his, I like Tom's chances at home.
We're going to find out.
Yep.
We're going to find out. That's going to be our game of the week. Is that the early game or the late game?
I don't know. But it's the game of the week. That's all I know for sure.
You catching the L. I know that.
Yeah. I think we are catching a big dub because this is made for the GOAT.
Dude. I got social
pride on the line.
As a matter of fact, I got a patio night at Club Shay Shay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have nobody inside, so you can have curbside pickup or you can sit on the patio.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, you're distance. So I expect to see Tom.
When this one's over, Tom Brady's going to be doing this.
No.
How about this?
Y'all, Skip, y'all not getting Skip.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, you're not getting a ring.
How do you know that?
And stop telling.
Where is the Super Bowl played this year?
He won't be there.
Tampa.
He just isn't he moving out? He moving out of Jeter's place. So he gonna have to move out the place that he just moved into because some other quarterback gonna need that place. So he gonna have to move out he got to move again.
I like his chances.
Like his chance to do what? On Sunday?
Yep, I do.
You're not beating Aaron Rodgers?
Why not?
Because, Skip,
It's about time for Aaron to start to lose it a little bit.
Lose it how?
Yeah, the way he always does down the stretch.
Don't do that.
He has a great quarter pole first half. And then
what about your guy?
Yep.
Remember, your guy started 8-0. And then he went 4-4 down the stretch. Is that losing it? Because that's what your guy did last year, Skip. He did that. Now, I'm not making this up. He did that. He started 8-0. In every game in which the defense could not hold an opponent to 17 or fewer points, what happened? He caught an L.
I believe Todd Bowles' defense will rise and shine against Aaron Rodgers, especially at Tampa.
Oh, they'll rise and shine?
Yep.
Like they did Chicago? Like they did Chicago.
They had a long night.
I don't know how long the night was.
I kept trying to tell you, Nick Foles can play.
I mean, what is this, Alaska? I mean, they got long nights not going on right there. All I know is your guy. Gagged it.
My guy's still in first place. That's
No. Your guy tied for first place. Theoretically, the Saints are in first place because they beat your guy. So theoretically, you're in second place.
Yep, I think we'll be good to go after Sunday.
And as a matter of fact, you're probably going to be in second place for good because you're going to get another L, so you'll be 3-3.
Watch little Scotty Miller.
He's healthy now, huh? Now you want Scotty Miller, okay?
Yep, he got no targets at Chicago. Watch what happens.
Okay.
No mercy. The Titans host the Bills tonight in a matchup of undefeated first-place teams. After winning their first 4 games, Buffalo looks to start 5-0 for the first time since they went to the Super Bowl in 1991. Shannon, who you got? Who wins tonight?
This is a close one for me, Skip. I mean, and I know the Bills are favored, but I'm going to take the Titans at home because I think they've gotten better each week since opening week, the one in Denver. They've looked better each week since then. A.J. Brown has been out since that opener, but he seems to be back. I like their tight end group. Obviously, Derrick Henry can run the football. It's time for Jadeveon Clowney to flash. It's time for him to, he went because Vrabel was his position coach, was his coordinator when he had his best year, and I haven't seen him make those splash plays just yet. So I'm expecting them. I'm going to take the Titans in a close ball game tonight.
And I'm going to take the visiting team in a close ball game because the visiting team, the Bills, were my dark horse Super Bowl pick in the AFC. I stand by my pick, which is the Baltimore Ravens, but I also stand by picking Buffalo to win the AFC East. You took New England. You took Coach Subway. Right?
Well, I didn't know, the team was going to, guys were going to opt out for COVID, and then a couple of guys contracted.
So backing off?
No, I ain't backed off. I ain't backed off. I mean, Coach Belichick. Is Coach Belichick still there?
Yep.
And if Cam can play, I'm good. If long as those Stidham and Brian Hoyer don't have to play, I'm going to be fine in the AFC East. If they have to play, I'm done.
I am fine with my Bills because Josh Allen, I'm not saying he's becoming a superstar, but he's becoming a very good quarterback.
He is.
He can move. He's one of the best running quarterbacks under the radar. And I believe that the culture that Sean McDermott has created there will last.
Yep. A bunch of guys that were written off and nobody wanted you, but I wanted you here. But guess what? my guy can do all the things that your guy can do. And so if he's healthy, Cam will be just fine. We'll win that division. I like the Titans.
Okay.
Tannehill tonight.
One case on that. I'll take Buffalo.
Give me the points.
No.
The Buffalo favored by 3.5.
They're
favored by 3.5.
Second.
3.5.
What are
Give
we
me 3.
doing?
No.
I take 3 right now.
That is it for Undisputed. We will handle it tomorrow morning. Enjoy the game. Have a good one, guys.